This is a battle in the Frankenfaction tournament between Frankengalatia, commanded by me, and Frankenpergamon, commanded by Obelix. We both need to win this battle to advance to the semifinals, so this is an important battle for both of us. I have 5 Galatian swords, 5 Galatian legionaries. I have, 5 Sarmatian horse, 2 Cappadocian cavalry. One of them is my general, a commander general, to alleviate the morale problems of my Galatian swords. Then I have 2 Scythian Amazonians. Obelix we were talking on TeamSpeak while playing, and I was like, holy shit, Massilian Thereos, I did not expect that. So Obelix has heavy horse general. He is a strategist or warrior. Well, he has second wind battle rhythm. Heavy horse. Then he has Galatian legionaries with 1 bronze chevron. Smart choice, I think. So he has 5 of those. Then he has 5 Celtic warriors, 1 bronze. So it seems like he wants to gain an edge over my infantry line here. I knew Obelix had Oathsworn, so I wasn't going to take the infantry fight. I was going to gain the cavalry superiority, which I could get with my Sarmatian horse against his heavy horse. He has 3 Germanic slingers, might be a problem for my Amazonians. What I did not expect for Massilian Thereos. They may not look like much, but they can deal the damage to my cavalry. They also have a very nice charge bonus, so in the late game a charge bonus of 30 will really hurt my Galatian swords and my Galatian legionaries, and these units are of course going to be able to protect Obelix's rear fairly well. Quickly, I want to get them into the rear of the enemy as quickly as possible. I'm not necessarily going to be firing much with them unless I can get some really good shots off. Just a few volleys, and then I hope Obelix forgets about them. So, firing into the side here, hitting the Celtic warriors, doing a bit of hit point damage. I haven't killed anything yet, but I did a bit of damage. Then I turn my attentions to the Galatian legionaries with heavy shot. I really want to do some damage to these guys. Some of them hit them in the flanks, some of them in the rear, but I don't want to take any fire from these Massilian Thereos, so I have to disengage. Same thing over here, the Massilian Thereos follow me around, and I've gotten 1 kill, and that kill is on a Galatian legionary, because this was the unshielded side, so this is where I should have focused my attentions. Now my army is almost pure rush. So what I'm going to try to do, I'm not going to try to flank Obelix here, because I don't feel like it. What I feel like is pushing back his slingers, engaging his Celtics, trying to tie down his Galatian legionaries, and then start the cav engagements. The problem is though, these Massilian Thereos could do so much damage to my cavalry, both in melee and with their javelins, but mainly with their javelins, because I have a lot of Draco. So I see that Obelix moves up his heavy horse here, and if I can get the heavy horse off the field, it's going to be a great time for me. So I'm wondering whether he's going to go for a frontal cav YOLO here, but it seems like he's not going to do that. So I send my Sarmatian horse in, they smash into the heavy horse, activating Draco. I'm going to get some precursors in the face as well, sending in another Sarmatian horse here against his general. It looks like his general is not going to get a charge, so that was quite important, doing damage early on to the general. Also getting into these units and doing damage there, very, very important. This unit is probably lost, but I'm able to Draco all of these units. Not that it matters much against swords anyway. But I managed to tie down his entire front line with my frontal cav YOLO, so now I can send in the Galatian swords. The Celtic warriors have taken damage. The Galatian swords should be able to do a good job. I've managed to push back the Germanic slingers, and now these Sarmatian horse are losing decisively, but they did damage to the general. Very important, doing that hit point damage to the general. I'm not pulling out my cavalry here though, which I probably should do. Heavy horse not doing well, Celtic warriors losing decisively. Over here I'm starting to lose cavalry, but I also destroyed a heavy horse, got into the Celtic warriors, and now they are prime targets for being charged. The Galatian swords do well in the melee here. I'm getting some charges off into the Massilian Thereos. Didn't do too much, but I managed to charge 2 units here. Things are happening very, very quickly now. Setting the Galatian swords up at an angle here, so I can hit both these units and the Galatian legionaries behind them. This is not ideal. I'm sending in my Galatian legionaries against Celtics instead of sending them in against Galatian legionaries. This is ideal, winning with Galatian swords and then getting them into Galatian legionaries. So now I have to shield wall up, wrapping around this unit, and now the back of this unit is open for a little charge, a little love tap. But I'm first going to charge the Massilian Tereos to make them form into squares so they're not able to turn around and fire at me. Then I'm going to disengage really quickly. Over here, just a mass of charges happening. The Sarmatian Horse won that against the Massilian Tereos. The Massilian Tereos squared up. More frontal cavalry charges into the front of Obelix's army. His general hasn't taken much damage yet, other than from that first charge. So I'm sending in my Cappadocians to try and break these Celtics, because these Celtics are a problem. Now the Galatian legionaries are going to get the charge on me, which is not good. Just keeping my Scythian Amazonians in the back here, not doing anything with them at the moment. And I see that most of his Galatian legionaries are engaged. He's starting to break through in some of the engagements, so I pull back a few legionaries because they're going to be very, very important late game. I'm just going to let these guys stay in the fight, try to do as much damage as possible, send in the Cappadocian cavalry against this unit of Germanic slingers. The Germanic slingers are off the field, very important. Get the charge in with the Cappadocians here into the Galatian legionaries, into their flanks. Again, very important to do the hit point damage. I am losing here, but now I'm able to send in my Galatian legionaries as the second line. However, Obelix, I think he sees it, and he has some Massilian Tereos in here. But actually, he doesn't get the charge here, which is very, very good for me. Managing to hit multiple units here with one Galatian legionary, always good when that happens. So once again, hitting the Massilian Tereos, they're starting to lose a lot of men from these repeated charges. I'm not even using Draco here, because I'm able to knock down so many of them. Continue through, straight into the Germanic Slingers, straight into the Celtic Warriors. Both of these units take damage. And now I'll pull out the Sarmatian Horsemen, get another charge in here against these Galatian Legionaries. They get hit in the back, they get hit in the front, and although they don't lose too many men, the amount of hit point damage done by a charge like that is quite important, because I'm starting to lose infantry very rapidly against Obelix. He has more infantry units than me and can support his fights with, and so I need to use my cavalry very actively, but I have to avoid taking precursors while doing so. Galatian Legionaries in to deal with these Celtic Warriors. They should be able to do so quite quickly. This Galatian Legionary, although it's at 108 men, it's basically lost. But it got a good charge against these Galatian Legionaries. Now it's getting ganged up on by 3 Galatian Legionaries. I have to keep my distance because of these Massilian Tereos. And the Celtic Warriors losing decisively against the Galatian Legionaries. This Galatian Legionary might be able to hold, but this unit really should get the rear charge. Now I'm sending in this almost full strength Galatian Legionaries, who should be able to win here. This unit is just, it's holding really well, and this is why the Galatian Legionaries are such a great unit. They are holding here, holding off multiple enemy units for a long time and dealing out damage. Starting to waver a bit here, so I'm trying to get my general closer. He is too far away from the main engagement. Getting in the Cappadocian Cav, I turned around this unit to get a charge with both units at the same time. Very important when up against units of similar quality. So now the hit point damage has been done to this Galatian Legionary and is losing decisively against these Galatian Legionaries. These double charges are, I cannot underestimate the importance of these double charges, because although the men don't drop too quickly from the cavalry, they will drop extremely quickly when the follow-up infantry hits them. This unit is still fighting, still holding out. And now I pull back, take inventory of my units. I have an almost full strength unit here, but it's tired. I have an almost full strength unit here. It's winning slightly. And now I just need to finish off these fights so I can withdraw some of my forces. Rallying this unit so it stays in the fight for longer. Sending in my general against this Galatian Legionary. Not the best charge, but a charge is a charge. Makes the Galatian Legionaries lose decisively and might break them here. Just because of that, very important. And my Amazonians are kept at a safe distance away from the Germanic slingers. And now it's time for late game. And Obelix has lost quite a few of his slingers. He has some Massilian Tereos left. He's lost his cavalry, very important for me. This Galatian legionary that got charged is now losing. The Galatian swords threw their javelins at the Germanic slingers, and that was really unnecessary. Moving my Scythian Amazonians mainly to just chase away the general of Obelix here, so he doesn't support any of these fights, because I don't want any cavalry charges against my men. So now I'm starting to surround where Obelix is the weakest. I really want to get charges in here. I want to send in the Galatian legionaries here while getting a charge with my cavalry. So I'm going to send in the Summation Horse to stop these units. Getting a charge in should do a lot of damage since they're on the move. And yep, the unit starts to lose decisively. This unit starts to waver. And now things are looking good. They didn't look too good for a moment there, but I know as long as I can keep a few infantry units alive, and as long as I can keep most of my cavalry alive, then I'm going to be fine. I'm going to be able to cycle charge what Obelix has left here. And these isolated units, great targets for cavalry. So I'm going to try to get my Galatian legionaries in. Nope, I see they're winded, so I want to rest them a bit. I see that the very dangerous Massilian Theraeus are moving up to support. I don't want to take any fire from the Massilian Theraeus. So I'm just going to keep moving my units around just out of range of Obelix's units. And he's doing a smart thing here by having multiple lines of infantry like this. Because if I go in to charge this unit, then the Theraeus are going to be able to throw a lot of javelins my way, and I do not want that. And looking at the kills on my Amazonians, I have not used them for most of the battle. I'm saving these guys for the late game, and this is 800 worth of units, so it's a sizable portion of my army that I haven't used. But in my opinion, horse archers are best used late in the game rather than early. Early in the game, just to pull away a few units from the main force. Late in the game, for doing this, for firing, sniping the general when there are no units to really oppose my Amazonians. A few depleted slinger units, but they won't be able to do the damage quickly enough. So firing into the heavy horse, doing a bit of hit point damage, and pulling away before I take fire from the Theraeus. Let's just fast forward a bit before until an engagement happens. So over here we have the Galatian legionaries want to engage my Galatian legionaries here, but I get the charge without my Summation horsemen. The Galatian legionaries have depleted hit points. Using Draco, getting in, very important, getting the second charge against the enemy heavy horse, and this Summation horse is practically lost, but it's done a great job in charging down this Galatian legionary and in charging down the heavy horse. So now I'm able to, in this blob, send in my Galatian legionaries against this Galatian legionary, and that Galatian legionary should start to drop quickly, sending in a depleted cav unit here right into the Galatian legionaries to stop them from joining this fight. And I really like how cavalry allows you to exert control over the battlefield like that. Blob up units. Now I am being a bit wasteful with my cavalry here, but I need to kill the enemy general. So I'm moving into heavy shot range, firing on the heavy horse. Let's see if he drops. Yes, he starts to drop. The Celtic warriors, no match for my Galatian legionaries, but my Galatian legionaries are exhausted, and that's a problem. These Galatian swords get hit in the flank by Galatian legionaries, so they're going to rout, but it exposes the back of the Galatian legionaries to a cavalry unit. And the charge hits into the back of the Galatian legionaries. They lose a lot of men. I continue through into the back of these Celtic warriors, and now these Galatian legionaries are going to be free to charge into these Galatian legionaries. So getting multiple cavalry charges in one engagement like that is so important, because now I was able to stop this unit. It forms shield wall, and it's going to get charged now, and it's probably going to lose horribly to my Galatian legionaries. The Massilian Theraeus are a bit of a problem now, because they have almost full units worth of men left, and they have a 30 charge bonus, and that 30 charge bonus hurts in the late game. So the Galatian legionaries are starting to drop here, but I do have another unit free. that I can send in, and now the enemy general has to disengage. I can send in this unit against the Galatian legionaries here, and I'm not too worried about the Thureos. Over here I miss micro a bit. I move too close to the Thureos. I'm not able to kite the missiles as effectively as I need to, but now the Massilian Thureos are on the move, so I can give them a charge with the cavalry. They lose a lot of men from those cav charges. Well, a lot of hit points anyway. Singling out this Massilian Thureos, just continuing through, wanting to keep these units in the fight for a bit longer, charging in, wanting to break the Galatian legionaries here and here. And when I break these Galatian legionaries, I am going to have a field day with what's left. The slingers start to push away my Amazonians, and I'm just circling, trying to get good engagements with my cavalry. The Massilian Thureos charge in. While they are charging, they're getting flanked by cavalry, and now they lose quite a few men here. I don't have Draco left. This is a Cappadocian cav. I have a Sarmatian over here, I believe, but I pull out so quickly that it doesn't really matter. Now Obelix's general comes in here, manages to hit this Galatian legionary in the back, and that's very bad for me, but I am winning here at least. But I am losing Galatian legionaries unnecessarily at this point. Getting another charge in here, wanting to break this unit. But I didn't get a good charge, so I didn't get in. Continuing, getting a charge against the Massilian Thureos. And now Obelix's general is in trouble. My Amazonians are nearby, using heavy shot. And the general is dropping quickly. So always a priority when fighting barbarians, kill the general. Now the general is dead, so at this point it's quite clear that I have what's left on the field to defeat what Obelix has left. Because I can use my Amazonians to charge the Germanic slingers. The general is dead, so even though I lose this Galatian legionary, which I probably am going to, rare charges when the general is dead, it's going to break a lot of enemy units. So the Massilian Thureos lose a few men here, they lose a few men there. They do manage to break my guys there, but using Draco is going to make their spears a lot less dangerous in the extended melee, so I lose less men when I pull out. I could have used Draco in the beginning to reduce bracing. Here the Amazonians got in, destroyed some slingers. More cycle charging with the Sarmatian horsemen. Draco still in effect on the Massilian Thureos. This Galatian legionary is still holding out with 189 kills, but now it broke, unfortunately. But I do have, at this point, Obelix asks me, do you have any ammunition left? And I'm like, yep, I have more than 50% left on these Scythian Amazonians. I've lost some of them unnecessarily, but I have the ammunition I need to kill these units of Thureos. And especially if they form into squares, it's going to be very, very easy to kill them. But Obelix is smart, he runs for the trees. But you've seen what happens when people run for the trees and there are heavy shot horse archers still on the field. I'm firing a bit into the Massilian Thureos with the horse archers. I don't really care that I'm firing into the shielded side because I have more than enough left to kill them. Heavy shot is devastating late game. So he turns, facing me. And that, of course, exposes his backs to my cavalry here. But he did have ammunition left, and I didn't see that. So he's able to take down quite a few of my Amazonians with his Thureos. And this is why I was worried about the Thureos, because they killed so many of my Amazonians very, very easily. But the balance of power, once he spends his ammunition, he loses on the power balance bar, so he just routs, unfortunately. Heroic last stand of Pergamon, Massilia, Galatia, Suebi. So Obelix, I think he made a smart decision here. I expected Obelix to bring more skirmishers, more cavalry. But Obelix knew that my Sarmatian horse would cancel out heavy horse. So instead, he also knew that my Sarmatian horse would to a significant degree reduce the effectiveness of spears, essentially making them shitty swords without bonuses against cavalry. So what he instead did was he brought Massilian Thureos spears that have javelins, and they of course wreck cavalry when there are 120 men in the unit, even though they only have a 5 bonus versus large. So he upgrades his melee line a bit to make them better against my units that I didn't upgrade. Then he went light on the cavalry because he knew he wasn't going to be able to win the cavalry fight, but I expected him to bring Oathsworn because he had Oathsworn in his army. This was a very close fought battle, let's see, 1300, 1700, but I deployed 1740 men because I had cavalry. So some of these units were definitely wasted, some of them were used reasonably well, but mainly saving some of my cavalry, disengaging, and then having ammunition available for the late game once again proved to be decisive in this battle. So that means I advance to the next round in the Frankenfaction tournament, and I don't look forward to it at all. Thanks to Obelix for the game. Strength and honor.